And we're live tonight with our second artist of the evening, and we'll be talking to Angela Lane. And Angela, just waiting to see if she's going to join us, and she's joining us, and she's going to talk about the piece that's behind me and her process and her incredible work that she does for the Riverdale ArtWalk. So Angela is integral to us on so many levels. So it'll be good to chat with her about her work. Hey, there she is. Perfect. Hi, how are you?
Good to be here. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, you look chill and relaxed and happy. That's great.
First Instagram post and I'm chill.
It's good. It's good. Okay, so let's start by talking about the process you do. I'm going to flip it around and you can just talk a little bit about the painting, okay?
Okay. Well, this is a painting that I started in the fall. One of a Kind was my first really big show. I had done a few small things. So my background really is more graphic art and marketing. So last year, Kate and I, who's the chair of the board of the Artist Network, we started to pull away from our corporate work, and we started to work on something called Creative Adventures. And one of our first adventures, big adventures, was going to be like this encaustic painting. I'd never touched encaustic before. And we took a course up at up north at the Hive, and I fell in love. Like, I just touched the wax, I started painting with wax, and I just loved it. I had been painting off and on for many, many years. I've actually been involved in arts for a long, long time. But I just kind of fell in love with encaustic, and the real reason is because it's just layers and layers and layers of this translucent medium that has so much depth. And I think I just love the natural elements of it. I say these paintings, this one in particular, as well as many other ones I do, they're kind of reflections of my happy place. So I spend a lot of time outdoors, going on lots of walks. I took tons and tons of pictures last fall doing walks, and this is sort of a reflection of that. And I spend a lot of time in my gardens, and that's what's reflected in my work. Basically, the places that I like to spend the most time in, the places that let me breathe in and out, and just be, is what I spend time reflecting in my work.
Yeah, it's beautiful. There's so many different layers. So what can you speak a lot? Not a lot of people know about encaustic. So when you begin doing an encaustic piece, what's your first step?
Okay, so I actually have a few boards laid out here, so I could talk to that, because I think a lot of people don't understand it.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to put my camera around, and I'll just show you here. I actually warmed up my wax, and my daughter's here so she can help the camera, hold the camera after a bit, because I can actually just do a really quick demo. So I do everything on a base panel. So this is a birch panel, and you tape off the edges so they end up being nice and clean. So there you are with the basic panel that you've sanded and prepped. You warm this up, and you start layering and layering wax on it. And you use different elements. So encaustic is basically layers and layers of fused wax, and fusing, you use a heat source. So my palette, unlike a lot of painters' palettes, my palettes are heated. So this is one of my palettes. So I've got all my rich, beautiful colors that I like to use. And then I have another palette here. So I actually use usually 2 palettes, and I have lots of other little tins that I have of colors that are mixed. So it's basically just beeswax that you tint with oil paint to get whatever colors you like. And you paint that on, you fuse. So I might start with fusing a lot of these like clear liquidy layers to build up. You might etch in it, scratch in it. Encaustic is a very forgiving medium. So one of my favorite tools is this. It's an X-Acto blade. So I use my X-Acto blade a lot because I scrape and etch and cut in, and these other tools that you might use. So I might start with this, and you might end up layering. You might actually have like 10 or 20 layers even getting to this. And then you might layer here and add in some color pigments. And then here I have another piece with some colors that I started to do. I'm kind of feeling like a bit floral. And then the piece will kind of take me on a journey, and I'll figure out what it's trying to say and kind of how I'm feeling. So here's another piece I'm working on that I might have put even more layers on, and I start to put light colors over dark. And then here's another piece that I'm working on that maybe is a little bit further. I might start adding things like pan pastel in it. I might etch out and add oil crayons in it. And I might do ink. I probably wouldn't do inking on this, but I often do inking on my pieces.
That's incredible. That's beautiful. It's, I think probably the biggest piece of what you've got going there is how you just go with the flow, right? You go with the dance of the art and how the art just takes you and takes you into this different space, right?
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons that I really fell in love with encaustic, because I was doing a lot of acrylic painting, and I felt like, oh, what do I have to say? What, you know, like, what's my story? What am I adding here? How much layers am I putting? I started to think about collage, and then this just was really freeing. It kind of just like some blow out your whole piece, and then it turns into something totally different, right? And so it's just a very freeing piece, because you just start working and then you kind of decide to go. And I think that so it's not as planned as some other pieces, right? I might plan a certain color, plan a feeling or something that I've seen that day or that I did in my studio.
Right.
I can show you really quickly the tools that I use, and a really quick demo of like when the color kind of melds into the
Yeah.
and give the. All right, so first things first, that's to tie back my hair, so just give me a second. The safety always with encaustic, and usually I'm wearing a big heavy mask and I have a fan going. For those who don't know encaustic, I usually do have those types of things, but for this I'm just going to show you really quickly. So I'll just take this panel and I'll just take a couple of colors. And I'll just put that on there, put a bit more bright pink because I'm feeling pink today. And yellow, I like yellow and pink a lot together. And one of my favorite colors is this muddy kind of green. And I'll just put some of this in here. And I'm just gonna, this is my favorite tool, the blowtorch. So get to lightly fuse into a piece, but you can also move. Something, and as you can see with the other piece, how much you might layer in. So it's a very lovely tactile medium. You can see in this piece here, I'd have like layers and layers, and I might put clear layers over top, and then I start to build. Like this is just some sort of floral.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful how you keep the color bright, the color maintains itself, and it just, you just go with the flow. So it's really very strong in the sense of the grip of 7 in that way, right? With the type of like using that tradition, and then it becomes your own kind of voice.
Yeah, I guess so. Like I think Tom Thompson and Frank Michael, people like that who have a lot of shapes. Paintings are very tactile, and they use. So I like, and I think the fall inspired me to do some of these like tight pieces. I think what I'm doing now is I'm just like everything, like even my spring pieces and everything like that. It's just very.
We have kind of a titchy kind of connection here today. So what I'm going to do, I just want to ask you quickly about organizing the Riverdale ArtWalk and how that's been going for you, how it's been going online, and how you can adjust to that.
Well, I think Riverdale ArtWalk going online was a great opportunity. I think we have a lot of members and who haven't taken that step to get an online store. And I think these times we're moving more that way, and I think even it's going to extend beyond that. So moving the Riverdale online was a great opportunity, I think, for some of those artists who hadn't started to do that. You as well as the Artists Network, other volunteers and members put together some really good seminars on how to do that. I think we found a really good tool. We are using a company called and we're the very first ones to use them in Canada. So we had to Canadianize the tool. But I think it's really helping the artists see the benefits of being online and sell online, and to actually put together profiles. When you do in-person event. You don't always have to, some people aren't focused on that. And I think it's going to be great moving forward. We'll have like maybe both, like we'll have in person and then supported through online. I think it's going to be a great activity.
Yeah. I think it definitely kicks people in the butt, so to speak, to get things going. And I think that with your help and Kate and us as a group, really trying to help artists sell online and understand how to do that, that's been the big learning curve for this show this year, don't you think?
For everybody. I did my first piece in the online store this weekend, so that was sort of nice. I think I'm always so focused on the overall show and all the artists that you want to work on your own practice. So it's sort of fun to see that happen. Yeah, I don't always follow my guidance, and I need to do that. I tell artists, "Look, get your stuff together, get it done." I got to do it for myself too. So
I know. All right, thank you very much for all the
organization.
work that you do. And thanks for showing us and getting us into your studio. I really enjoyed chatting with you, Angela. It was lovely. Your work is beautiful.
So much. Have a great night. Thanks everybody
Bye.
for joining in.